Hey guys, tonight we're going to walk into something raw, something real, something ancient that still speaks directly to the battles you're fighting right now. The hidden prison. You wake up one morning and the first thought that crosses your mind isn't joy, or purpose, or excitement. It's exhaustion. It's dread. You drag yourself out of bed, you scroll your phone, you glance in the mirror and see a stranger looking back. Someone tired, someone defeated, someone who once had dreams, but now feels like they're slipping further away each day. You wonder, is this all there is? And here's the brutal truth. The walls closing in on you aren't built of steel or stone. They're built of thought. They're built of the stories you keep repeating to yourself. And the good news, you hold the key. The ancient mirror. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was the most powerful man alive. Yet in private, he wrestled with the same demons you do: distraction, doubt, despair. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, admitted that even with wealth and status, he felt time slipping through his fingers like sand. And Epictetus, once a slave, discovered the radical truth that freedom isn't about chains on your body but chains on your thoughts. 3 men, 3 different lives. They discovered the same solution and all pointing toward the same conclusion. Mastering the mind is the first step to mastering life. The brutal formula. But here's the revelation they all discovered: transformation follows a sequence. It isn't random. It isn't luck. First, you fix the mind. That gives clarity and direction. Then, you fix the body. That gives energy and discipline. And finally, you fix the heart. That gives purpose and connection. Mind, body, heart. Each one fuels the next. And together they form a cycle that rebuilds you from the ground up. So tonight, we're not just talking theory. We're walking step by step through 3 brutal Stoic rules that can reset your entire life. Brutal because they demand honesty. Brutal because they require action. Brutal because they strip away excuses. But if you're brave enough to apply them, they will rebuild you. Now, dim the lights and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Fix yourself: mind, body, heart. 1. Fix the mind. Clarity and direction. Your mind right now may not be your ally. It whispers things that keep you small. You're too late. You're not enough. Other people are luckier, smarter, better. It replays your failures like a broken record and convinces you that the future will be nothing more than a rerun of the past. Slowly, you begin to believe these whispers are facts. But here's the Stoic truth. The mind is not a mirror that passively reflects reality. It is a sculptor, shaping the way you see the world and how you move within it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. So if you feel lost, empty, disconnected, the first place you must rebuild is here. Expose the mind. Feed truth, not trash. Think of your brain like a furnace. Whatever you feed it, it burns, and what it burns, it becomes. If you give it gossip, outrage, endless entertainment, it produces weakness. If you give it philosophy, discipline, stories of resilience, it produces strength. Seneca didn't waste his mornings scrolling through complaints. He filled his mind with ideas that sharpened his judgment. Epictetus didn't compare his life to the luxuries of his masters. He filled his thoughts with discipline and freedom. So here's your first challenge. For the next 7 days, replace the first 30 minutes of your morning with fuel that sharpens you. Read philosophy. Read biographies of people who faced impossible odds and won. Read about skills you want to master. No news, no social media, no junk. Ask yourself every morning, what am I feeding my mind, strength, or poison? This simple act will begin to rewire your day, and with it, your life. Excite the mind. Give it a target. A mind without direction drifts like a ship without a rudder, and most people drift straight into mediocrity. Epictetus commanded his students, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Notice he didn't say what you want to have or what you want to achieve. He said what you would be. This is identity-based thinking. Goals focus on results. Identity focuses on character. And when you decide who you are, the actions follow naturally. Instead of I want to lose weight, say, I am someone who treats my body as a temple. Instead of I want to be successful, say, I am someone who creates value for others. Your mind will seek evidence to support the story you give it. So write this sentence today and finish it. I am becoming, not someday, not maybe, but today. Open the mind, break the prison bars. The strongest prisons are built from belief. I can't. It's impossible. That's just who I am. Marcus Aurelius fought against those walls daily. He reminded himself that his interpretations mattered more than the events themselves. War, betrayal, plague. He couldn't control those, but he could control what they meant to him. The Stoics called this assent, agreeing to a thought and giving it authority over your life. Every time you say I can't, you hand over power. Every time you reframe, you break another bar. Here's your exercise. Identify your 3 biggest limiting beliefs. Write them down, then rewrite them into strength. I can't start because I don't have money leads. I am learning to create with what I have. I'm not smart enough leads. I am developing the skills I need. It's too late for me leads. Every moment is a new beginning. This isn't wishful thinking. This is disciplined thinking. The daily Stoic ritual. The Stoics didn't just talk philosophy, they lived it. Daily. Here's your ritual. Morning. Write 3 thoughts that serve you, 3 that don't. Daytime. Catch the unhelpful ones. Replace them in real time. Evening. Review your day. When did your mind serve you? When did it sabotage you? This is not positive thinking, it's disciplined thinking. There's a difference between hoping life improves and training your mind to create improvement. Seneca said, nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company. Can you sit quietly without reaching for your phone, without needing to escape? If not, your mind owns you. And that must change. So write this truth somewhere you'll see it daily. My mind is my kingdom, and I am its ruler. Why the mind comes first. This is why the Stoics always began with the mind. Because without clarity, the body lacks discipline. Without focus, the heart loses direction. But with a trained mind, you begin to see possibilities. You reinterpret pain as training, obstacles as fuel, life itself as your classroom. Fix the mind, and everything else follows. The mind as weapon and prison. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. But like any weapon, it can be used against you if left uncontrolled. Right now, for many, the mind is not a liberator, it's a jailer. Think about it. How often do you rehearse your failures instead of your victories? How often do you replay conversations where you embarrassed yourself instead of moments you showed courage? How often do you imagine worst-case scenarios, living through disasters that haven't even happened while your actual present slips by unnoticed? This is what the Stoics called misuse of imagination. Marcus Aurelius battled the same thing. In his Meditations he wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety." Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. The prison of the mind is built from recycled fears, second-hand beliefs, and borrowed judgments, and the only way out is through conscious training. The Stoic discipline of attention. If you want to fix your mind, begin with this. Attention is currency. Whatever you spend it on grows. If you spend it on gossip, gossip grows. If you spend it on resentment, resentment grows. If you spend it on philosophy, discipline, service, those grow. Seneca warned his friend Lucilius, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Notice that. Reality is hard enough, but the mind multiplies suffering by attaching fear, comparison, and envy. So ask yourself daily, where is my attention flowing? Am I investing it into strength or leaking it into weakness? Here's a practical ritual. Carry a small notebook. Every time you catch yourself ruminating on fear, on anger, on envy, jot it down. Then, right beside it, write the reframe. Train your mind in real time, not just in theory. Building identity through repetition. The mind resists change at first. It clings to old narratives because they feel safe, even if they are toxic. But repetition reshapes identity. Think of Marcus Aurelius writing his Meditations. These weren't meant for publication. They were reminders, daily repetitions of truth. He rewrote the same principles again and again, not because he forgot, but because his mind needed constant reinforcement. So here's your challenge. Craft 3 identity statements and repeat them daily. I am becoming disciplined. I am becoming courageous. I am becoming wise. Notice the phrasing, becoming, not someday I'll be, not I hope to be. Becoming implies motion, growth, process, and every time you repeat it, your mind looks for proof and finds it. The Stoic power of perspective. Here's something modern life often forgets. Most problems are problems of perspective. You miss a bus in rage, convinced the universe is against you. Marcus would remind you, the bus leaving on time is neither good nor bad, it simply is. What matters is how you use the delay. Do you stew in anger, or do you use the time to reflect, read, breathe? Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Let that sink in. The event doesn't disturb you. Your judgment of the event does. Imagine if you live this truth for just 1 week. Imagine catching yourself each time you say, "This ruined my day," and instead saying, "This is training for my patience." Catching yourself when you mutter, "This is unfair," and instead saying, "This is my chance to practice courage." Do that. and your mind shifts from victim to warrior. Facing the inner enemy, there's a voice inside you. You know it. The one that whispers when you're about to try something new. Who are you to do this? You'll fail. People will laugh. Stay small. The Stoics knew this voice well. They faced it daily. But instead of obeying it, they treated it like a sparring partner, a challenge. When Marcus Aurelius wanted to stay in bed, he asked himself, was I made to lie warm under the blankets, or to do the work of a human being? When Seneca felt anger rise, he reframed it as weakness, not strength. When Epictetus faced cruelty, he reminded himself, you can chain my leg, but not my will. Here's your exercise. The next time that inner critic speaks, don't silence it, answer it out loud, if you can. When it says, you're too late, answer, no, this moment is my new beginning. When it says, you're not good enough, answer, I'm becoming better every day. This isn't delusion. It's training. You are teaching your mind who is in charge. The mind without distraction. We live in an age allergic to silence. The moment we're alone, we reach for noise, a screen, a notification, a distraction, anything to avoid being left with our thoughts. But the Stoics practiced the opposite. They embraced solitude as training. Seneca said, if you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich. To live in harmony requires time alone, time to listen to your own reason, your own heart. So here's your challenge. Once a day, sit without distractions, no phone, no music, just you and your mind. 5 minutes at first, then 10, then more. If you feel restless, good. That means you're detoxing from distraction, because until you can be alone with your thoughts, you don't own your mind. Your distractions do. From theory to action, philosophy is useless unless applied. Marcus didn't write for entertainment. Seneca didn't write letters for applause. Epictetus didn't lecture for fame. They trained. They tested. They lived their words in war camps, in courts, in slavery. So let's bring this home. Every morning, decide, what identity am I becoming today? Every day, catch one unhelpful thought and reframe it. Every evening, reflect. Did my mind serve me or sabotage me? Do this for 30 days, and you will notice something shift. Not in the world outside, but in the way you move through it. And that shift is the beginning of freedom. Why the mind comes first. Let's step back. Why start here? Why with the mind? Because the mind directs everything. If your thoughts are poisoned, no diet, no exercise, no relationship, no success will save you. You'll sabotage them all. But if your thoughts are disciplined, if you feed them truth, give them direction, train them daily, then every other part of your life aligns. Fix the mind, and suddenly the body follows. You no longer say, I should exercise. You say, I am someone who strengthens my vessel. You no longer say, I should sleep more. You say, I am someone who respects tomorrow by resting today. Fix the mind, and the heart opens. You stop replaying betrayals and start creating connection. You stop numbing yourself and start feeling alive again. The Stoics knew this cycle, and now, so do you. We've walked through Rule 1, fix the mind. We've seen how Marcus rewired his perspective, how Seneca guarded his attention, how Epictetus refused to surrender his will. We've practiced daily rituals, reframing exercises, solitude challenges, and most importantly, we've built clarity. But clarity alone is not enough. The general may have the strategy, but without soldiers, the battle is lost. The mind may be strong, but without a disciplined body to carry it, the war collapses. That is why the next rule is brutal, necessary, and transformative. Rule 2. Fix the body. 2. Fix the body energy, discipline, and the foundation of strength. The general. Without an army, you've disciplined your mind. You've sharpened your perspective. You've started to see the world not as chaos, but as training. But what happens when the general has no army? What happens when the strategy is clear, but the soldiers cannot march? That's what it's like to have a strong mind trapped in a weak body. The vision is there, the clarity is there, but the vessel that must carry it is sluggish, tired, unprepared. And the result? The dreams collapse under the weight of fatigue. This is why the Stoics never ignored the body. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, reminded himself every morning, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. Notice that. Not as an emperor, not as a philosopher, as a human. To wake, to move, to strengthen, to fulfill his role in nature. Your body is not decoration, it is duty. Your body is voting every day. Every day. Your body is either voting for your future or against it. When you hit the snooze button, when you skip the workout, when you reach for sugar instead of nourishment, your body is casting a silent vote. And over weeks, months, years, those votes add up to a verdict, weak or strong. Right now, many of us live in betrayal of our own potential. We ask our bodies to carry heavy dreams, but we fuel them with junk, starve them of sleep, and chain them to chairs all day long. And then we wonder why we feel stuck, anxious, uninspired. But here's the brutal Stoic truth. Your body is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's waiting for you to lead. And once you take command, you unlock energy most people never taste. Nourish. Food as philosophy. Food is not neutral. Every bite you take is either feeding your strength or feeding your weakness. The Stoics had a concept called preferred indifference. Things that are neither good nor bad in themselves, but become good or bad based on how you use them. Food is the perfect example. An apple can sharpen your mind and fuel your day, or it can just be another unconscious habit, another distraction. A slice of pizza can be a conscious choice for joy, or an unconscious act of sabotage. Marcus Aurelius ate simply. Seneca warned against indulgence, not because he despised pleasure, but because he knew pleasure unchecked becomes slavery. Epictetus, born into chains, understood that discipline in the small things is freedom in the big things. So here's your challenge. For the next 14 days, before every meal, ask one question. Will this food help me become who I want to be, or keep me trapped where I am? This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. Because once you make conscious choices, you're no longer a slave to appetite. You're its master. Sleep. The foundation of tomorrow. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." How much time are you wasting at night? Scrolling endlessly, binging another show, Convincing yourself you can catch up on weekends, you're not just stealing hours. You're stealing tomorrow's energy. You're robbing your future self of clarity, patience, strength. Your body needs 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, not as a luxury, as a law of nature. Marcus Aurelius could command armies, but even he could not command his body to thrive without rest, and neither can you. So treat sleep as sacred. Guard your evenings. Power down the noise. Sleep not because you're lazy, but because you respect the work tomorrow demands. Move. Motion creates emotion. We live in an age of sitting at desks, sitting in cars, sitting on couches, and then we wonder why life feels stagnant. But the Stoics knew, stagnation of the body leads to stagnation of the spirit. Epictetus, despite his physical disability, taught that every act of movement was an act of freedom. Marcus, even in the discomfort of military campaigns, trained his body daily because they knew strength isn't built in ease, it's built in discomfort. Here's your protocol. Move for at least 20 minutes a day. Walk stairs, do push-ups, stretch, take cold showers. It doesn't matter what, as long as you move with intention, because when you move your body, you send a message to your mind. I can do hard things, and that self-trust, the knowledge that you can command yourself and obey, is worth more than any muscle. Voluntary discomfort, training for the unexpected. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, "You've earned this. Take it easy. Avoid the hard thing." But every time you listen, you grow weaker. And when life inevitably throws real hardship your way, you find yourself unprepared. That's why the Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, eating coarse bread, taking cold baths, not because they loved suffering, but because they loved freedom. And freedom only comes when comfort no longer controls you. Seneca said, "The willing are guided by destiny, the unwilling are dragged." Each time you choose discomfort, waking early, finishing the workout, eating vegetables instead of sweets, you are guiding destiny instead of being dragged by it. So here's your challenge. Every day, choose one discomfort your future self will thank you for. One rep when you want to quit. One glass of water instead of soda. One cold shower instead of hot. Start small. Start today. The reward of discipline. Fixing the body isn't about sculpting abs or impressing strangers. It's about building energy, self-trust, and resilience. When your body is disciplined, you stop doubting yourself. You say, "I'll wake up early," and you do. You say, "I'll run," and you run. You say, "I'll resist," and you resist. Slowly, you begin to believe your own word again. That belief is power. That belief is freedom. And that belief fuels everything else: your work, your relationships, your purpose. So we've stepped into Rule 2, fix the body. We've learned that food is philosophy, that sleep is sacred, that motion creates emotion, that voluntary discomfort forges resilience. We've seen how Marcus, Seneca, and Epictetus all treated the body as duty, not decoration, but this is only half the work. Because even with a clear mind and a strong body, something may still feel missing. You can be disciplined, focused, energetic, and still feel hollow. That's why the Stoics didn't stop here. The final battlefield, and the hardest, is the heart. But before we get there, we must go deeper into the practices of the body because this isn't a one-day fix. This is training for a lifetime. The body as proof of character. Your body tells the truth about your habits. It doesn't lie. You can hide your thoughts. You can mask your emotions. But your body, your energy, your posture, your stamina reveals how you've been living. The Stoics didn't worship physical beauty. They worshipped strength of character. And to them, the body was proof. Not proof of vanity, but proof of discipline. When Marcus Aurelius dragged himself out of bed before dawn to face councils, generals, and crises, his body obeyed his mind. When Epictetus, chained and scarred, still stood to teach his students, his body obeyed his spirit. When Seneca restricted his diet, fasted, and practiced endurance, his body obeyed his philosophy. So ask yourself, does your body obey your mind, or does it betray it? The link between body and emotion. Here's what modern science confirms. And the Stoics knew. Your body doesn't just carry your emotions, it shapes them. Slouch, and you feel small. Stand tall, and you feel capable. Breathe shallow, and you feel anxious. Breathe deep, and you feel calm. Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." And where does that imagination live? In the body, your racing heart, your clenched jaw, your tight chest. So when you discipline your body, you are not just training muscles. You are training emotions. You are giving your mind a stable platform from which to rule. Discipline in small things. Many people think transformation requires giant leaps. It doesn't. It requires small, daily victories. Every time you resist the snooze button, you prove something to yourself. Every time you choose water over soda, you prove something to yourself. Every time you walk instead of scroll, you prove something to yourself. These choices seem small, but they compound. They build trust, and self-trust is the rarest currency in the modern world. Because without it, you hesitate, you doubt, you betray yourself. But with it, you move forward with quiet confidence. The Stoics would call this integrity the alignment between what you say and what you do. And the body is where that alignment becomes visible. Voluntary hardship as training. Let's look deeper at voluntary discomfort. Why would a man like Seneca, surrounded by luxury, deliberately eat coarse bread and sleep on the floor? Because he understood that fortune is fickle. Comfort lulls you into the illusion of safety, but hardship chosen voluntarily makes you unbreakable when hardship comes uninvited. Think of your own life. How fragile have we become? A little hunger, and we panic. A skipped coffee, and we complain. A cold day, and we retreat indoors. The Stoics would say, train for life before life trains you. So practice hunger by fasting. Practice cold by embracing the chill. Practice fatigue by exercising beyond comfort. Not to punish yourself, but to prepare yourself. To remind your body that you are its master, not its servant. The enemy called comfort. Let's be honest, comfort is killing us. Comfort foods, comfort zones, comfort entertainment, comfort lifestyles, all designed to keep you numb, sedated, dependent. But comfort does not equal happiness. Comfort equals stagnation, and stagnation, slowly, equals decay. The Stoics weren't anti-comfort. They were anti-slavery. And anything that makes you its slave, whether a soft bed, a sweet snack, or endless entertainment, must be put in its place. So ask yourself, what comfort has become my master? And then, little by little, take back control. The ritual of movement. Let's craft a simple, brutal ritual for the body Stoic style. Morning. Move immediately upon waking. Even if it's 10 push-ups, do them. Signal to your body. I command, you obey. Daytime. Every hour, move, stand, stretch, walk. Refuse to let your body become a statue. Evening. Reflect. Did I honor my body today, or betray it? Did I treat it as an ally or as a garbage bin? Do this not as a 30-day challenge, but as a way of living. Because the body is not something you fix once. It is something you train daily. The bridge to the heart. Now here's the deeper truth. When you fix the body, you don't just gain energy, you gain dignity. A disciplined body strengthens your emotions. It sharpens your confidence. It opens your capacity to connect. And this is where the transition begins. Because the stronger your body becomes, the more courage your heart finds to stay open. Think about it. A weak, tired, malnourished body collapses under stress. It shuts down, closes off, hides. But a strong body, trained in discomfort, can withstand pressure. It can feel pain without closing the heart. This is why the Stoics never stopped at the body. They always moved forward to the heart. The final reminder on the body. Remember this: your body is your first servant. Treat it well, and it serves you. Neglect it, and it sabotages you. Marcus Aurelius didn't enjoy training. He did it because he knew a weak body makes a weak mind. Seneca didn't deny himself comfort because he was cruel. He did it because he wanted freedom. Epictetus didn't let his physical limitations define him. He transcended them through discipline. Now it's your turn. Nourish with intention. Rest with respect. Move with purpose. Embrace discomfort with courage. Build trust in yourself through small, daily victories. Fix the body, and you prepare the stage for the heart. You fix the mind clarity and direction. You fix the body energy and discipline. Now comes the hardest, most vulnerable, and most rewarding step of all. That is fix the heart. Because once the heart is open, it gives purpose to the mind, meaning to the body, and connection to the entire cycle of transformation. And without the heart, even the sharpest mind and strongest body feel empty. 3. Fix the heart. Purpose, connection, and the courage to stay open. The hardest battle. You've disciplined the mind, clarity, and direction. You've strengthened the body, energy, and discipline. But now we come to the hardest part of all, the heart. Because here's the truth: when the heart is broken, closed, or numb, even the strongest mind and body feel hollow. You can think clearly. You can train daily. You can achieve outward success. But inside, you still feel empty. That's why the Stoics didn't stop at thoughts and actions. They went deeper, to the center of life, to the heart. The numbness that creeps in. Think about how many years you've lived behind walls built from disappointments, betrayals, failures. At some point, you decided it was safer to numb yourself than to feel fully, safer to stop caring than to risk pain again. But numbness is poison, because numbness doesn't just block out pain, it blocks out everything: the joy, the wonder, the connection, the meaning. Marcus Aurelius knew this. Betrayed by those closest to him, even by his own son, he still wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and around it the seething waters are laid to rest. Strength of heart is not avoiding pain. It's staying open despite the waves." Brutal honesty. Meeting yourself. The first step is brutal honesty. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, stripped away the mask. He confessed his fears, his regrets, his weaknesses. Why? Because you can't heal a lie. You can't rebuild if you're not honest about what's broken. So here's your exercise. Sit alone, no phone, no mask, no noise, and ask yourself 3 questions. 1. If I knew I couldn't fail, what would I spend my life doing? Not what makes money, not what impresses others, but what makes my heart come alive. 2. What am I pretending not to care about that actually matters deeply? What dream have I buried under excuses? 3. Who am I when nobody's watching, when all the titles, roles, and performances fall away? What's left? Write the answers. Don't judge. Don't edit. Just write. You may be surprised. You may be scared. Good. A heart that doesn't scare you is too small for the life you're meant to live. Release. The art of forgiveness. But finding your heart is not enough. You must release the weight it carries. Right now, your heart is heavy with resentment toward those who hurt you, guilt about mistakes you can't change, anger at yourself for not being further along, and all that weight. It's suffocating your ability to love, to connect, to feel. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Marcus Aurelius warned, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and hoping someone else suffers. Carrying guilt is like chaining yourself to a corpse and wondering why you can't move. So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, every evening, write down one thing you need to forgive. One person, one wound, one regret. Then consciously choose to release it. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is choosing freedom over chains. The heart's purpose. Sympathia. Now comes the greatest step, purpose. The Stoics believed in sympathia, the idea that we are all connected. Marcus wrote, what hurts the hive hurts the bee. What benefits the hive benefits the bee. A heart that lives only for itself eventually runs empty, but a heart that connects to something larger, service, contribution, love becomes infinite. So here's your mission. Pay attention this week to when you feel most alive. Not entertained, not distracted, truly alive. When does time disappear? When do you light up? When do others tell you that you shine? Those moments are clues. That is your heart pointing to purpose. Then ask, how can I use this energy to serve others, because service expands what self-centeredness shrinks. And when your life aligns with service, with contribution, with meaning, your heart flourishes. Vulnerability as strength. Let's kill a myth. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength. To stay closed, numb, and detached is easy. To stay open, honest, and alive, despite pain that requires courage. The Stoics practiced this courage daily. They did not avoid sorrow. They embraced it. They felt it fully, then used it as fuel for wisdom. That's the invitation to you. Don't run. Don't numb. Don't hide. Be real. Be open. Let yourself feel again. Because the world doesn't need another mask. It needs you honest, vulnerable, alive. Why the heart completes the cycle. Now the cycle is clear. Fix the mind leads clarity and direction. Fix the body leads energy and discipline. Fix the heart leads purpose and connection. And here's the beauty. They feed one another. A clear mind directs the body. A disciplined body empowers the heart. A purposeful heart inspires the mind to keep expanding. Mind, body, heart. A cycle of power, unbreakable. The Stoics weren't perfect. Marcus battled despair. Seneca fought desire. Epictetus endured chains. But they kept showing up. And through their persistence, they changed history. Now it's your turn. We've opened the first layer of the heart. Honesty, release, purpose, vulnerability. But there's more, because fixing the heart is not a single choice. It's a lifelong practice. In the next part, we'll go deeper. We'll explore how to live with a heart fully engaged, fully alive, and fully connected without being crushed by the world's weight. The heart as compass. The mind may be the general. The body may be the army. But the heart is my compass. Without it, direction is meaningless. Without it, victory is hollow. Think about it. How many people do you know who are brilliant in mind, disciplined in body, yet miserable in life? They achieve, they conquer, they impress, but inside they are lost. Why? Because the compass of the heart is broken. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet in his private journal he reminded himself daily that his true duty was not to Rome alone, but to humanity. Seneca counseled emperors, yet his most passionate writings were about friendship, love, and purpose. Epictetus, scarred by slavery, taught his students not just how to endure, but how to live with dignity, connection, and meaning. The Stoics knew, without a heart anchored in purpose, life collapses into emptiness. Your heart may still be carrying burdens that don't belong to you. Resentment toward people who wronged you. Shame over mistakes that cannot be undone. Fear of futures that may never arrive. And each of those weights slows you down. You want to run forward, but you drag chains from the past. You want to open up, but you hide behind armor. You want to love, but you fear loss. Marcus wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." He wasn't denying reality. He was reminding himself, the weight we carry is often chosen. So ask yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer serves me? And then practice the art of laying it down. The heart release ritual. Here's a practical Stoic exercise. Every evening for 30 days, write down one thing to release. One regret, one anger, one fear, one name. Write it clearly, feel it fully. Then say aloud, I release this, not because it was okay, but because I deserve freedom. The point is not to erase the memory. The point is to refuse its power over you. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "It is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about those events. Release the judgment, release the poison, free your heart." Living with Sympathia. The Stoics believed in sympathia, the interconnection of all things. Marcus wrote, "What hurts the hive, hurts the bee." Meaning, your life is woven into others. Your purpose is not isolated, it's connected. And here lies the secret. When your heart serves only yourself, It runs dry, but when it serves others, when you create, help, mentor, love, contribute, it becomes infinite. So here's your mission. Notice this week when you feel most alive. Teaching, creating, helping, building, serving. Those are signals. That is your heart speaking. Then ask, how can I use this to contribute? Because contribution is the soil in which purpose grows. Vulnerability as power. Modern culture confuses vulnerability with weakness. But the Stoics knew the opposite. To close yourself off is cowardice. To stay open despite pain, that is courage. Marcus endured betrayal, yet kept his compassion. Seneca faced exile, yet wrote with warmth. Epictetus lived in chains, yet opened his heart to students. To be vulnerable is to risk pain, but it is also to embrace joy, meaning, and love. So here's the brutal truth. If you want to live fully, you must accept the risk of being hurt. You must choose openness over numbness, because numbness may protect you from pain, but it will also rob you of life. The cycle of renewal. Now the cycle is complete. The mind gives clarity, the body gives strength, the heart gives meaning, and they feed each other endlessly. A clear mind directs the body. A disciplined body empowers the heart. A purposeful heart inspires the mind. This is why the Stoics weren't content with theory. They lived this cycle daily. Marcus, with armies at his command, still wrestled with his journal. Seneca, with wealth in his hands, still trained himself with hardship. Epictetus, with scars on his body, still taught freedom of spirit. They weren't perfect. Neither will you be. But perfection isn't the point. Persistence is the brutal choice. So here we are, at the end of this journey together. Mind, body, heart. The three brutal rules that can rebuild your life. But here's the truth no philosopher can sugarcoat. None of this works unless you choose it. Not once, not today, but every day. Because philosophy isn't reading quotes. It isn't watching a video. It isn't feeling inspired for a moment. It's living daily, brutally, honestly. So the question isn't whether you can do this. The Stoics would laugh at that, of course you can. The question is whether you will. So I ask you now, what will you fix first? Will you fix the mind and finally break free from the prison of thought? Will you fix the body and finally reclaim the energy to carry your dreams? Will you fix the heart and finally open yourself to purpose, love, and connection? Write it down, speak it out, declare it. Because the world doesn't need another spectator. It needs warriors of the mind, guardians of the body, keepers of the heart. You are one of them. You are capable of more than you've ever imagined. And now, you have the blueprint. Fix the mind and you will fix your life. Fix the body and you will free your soul. Fix the heart and you will never lose your way. This is your beginning. The ancient Stoics walked this path before you. They left the map, and now the rest is yours. So rise tomorrow with clarity, move with discipline, love with courage, and when life tests you, as it surely will stand, like the rocky headland in Marcus's vision, firm, open, unshakable. Because the cycle is yours now, and with it, the power to rebuild your entire life. And now, we arrive at the quiet end of this journey together. But remember, endings are never truly endings. They are simply transitions. a bridge between who you were when you pressed play and who you are now, with a clearer mind, a stronger body, and a heart that has begun to open again. You've walked through the 3 brutal rules, and perhaps they didn't feel easy. Perhaps they demanded something heavy from you, a letting go, a reframing, a first step into discomfort. But beneath the weight of that challenge, something deeper has awakened, something that whispers softly within you. I am not finished. I am becoming. So as you step back into your life, carry this truth like a lantern in the dark. Your mind can be trained. Your body can be disciplined. Your heart can be healed and expanded. You are not bound by yesterday. You are not chained to failure. You are free to begin again, right now, in this very breath. And if tonight's journey has steadied your steps, if these words have found a home in you, let them live on. Share this video, speak them, practice them. And if you wish to keep walking with me through the lessons of the Stoics, through the fire and the calm, you may choose to stay. Subscribe channel, leave your reflections, comments, whisper your affirmations below, but only if it feels right. Only if the rhythm of these calls you back. For now, let the lights dim, let the noise fade, and let your heart rest in the stillness. You are strong. You are ready. You are becoming. And this is only the beginning. Until next time, good night, sweet dreams.